Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locker Talk, episode 43, the show everything WWE, past, present, and future. I am your host, Colton, and as always, by my side is the main event, Matt. This is our special react show to WWE RoadBlock live on the WWE Network for a low, low price of $9.99. So we are going to jump right into the show. But first, as we always do, we are going to read off your tweets and your thoughts. So we'd like to thank everyone in advance for tweeting to us about the show and been giving a wide array of opinions on the show. And we start off with the legend known as @TedIsLegend. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. And he has said, quite simply, Dean was supposed to win, but the Toronto crowd chanted for CM Punk, so Triple H won. That's a very likely scenario. I can see that 100% happening. Our next tweet, comes from a first-time tweeter, Jenny, who is @JenHBK. I like your choice in Twitter handles. Who said, Dean rocked the house. He is #what's best for business. Our next tweet comes to us from Kyle Bubb, who is a regular tweeter to the show. So thank you, Kyle, for always being a loyal Locker Talk follower, fan. Do we have a creative name for our fans yet? All three of them? Not yet. Okay. So anyway, Kyle has said, solid for a house show, no surprises for outcomes. Love the Dean Triple H false finish. Actually fell for it for a second. You're not the only one, my friend. And next tweets come from our great, great friend Steven Sorrell, who does a wonderful wrestling website called letstalkwwe.com. And Steven has said, Natalya versus Charlotte stole the show and cost the rowdy audience their voices afterwards. Very, very true. He said, unfortunately, Triple H needs to perform at a more exciting level at WrestleMania. His matches are plodding. Interesting. New tweets coming in as we speak from our other great friends @RTM Wrestling, who has said, I love Triple H's match. Thought he did really well. He's not going to be able to carry Roma with that style, though. Another interesting thought. And last but not least, another new tweet from Farmer, who has said, my thoughts are, and I quote, I can't wait to watch it in a few hours. I suggest you don't watch this show first, Farmer. So anyways, thank you to all of those fabulous folks for tweeting us their thoughts on WWE RoadBlock. And so now, the reason that all two of you and my mother have tuned into this show is to hear our opinions on the number one show in sports entertainment. Thankfully, Andy didn't sue us for gimmick infringement for doing their RTM's entrance last week. And so we continue on. So Matt, we started off hot with the New Day promo. Tell me what you thought about the New Day going against the lads, the League of Nerds, Sheamus and King Barrett.
I think Wade Barrett really shined in this match way more than Sheamus. Sheamus didn't do much. It's good to see Wade Barrett getting in there, them giving him more time creatively to do things. Hopefully that leads to a contract extension this summer. And the New Day did well. The New Day did really well. We continue to see only Big E and Kofi Kingston in the match. We really like to see some Xavier Woods. I don't know if they're listening to me on this thing or not, but, you know. Overall, it was a solid tag match. I think Wade Barrett and Sheamus did their part in this match. I think the New Day, with their antics, was really over in Toronto. Like Andy said, it's been kind of stale lately with their gimmicks and their unicorn horns and this and that. But it just felt fresh again tonight.
Yeah, the crowd was hot for the New Day, as they rightly should be. I think it's interesting to see where they're taking the New Day right now. It seems that they're kind of wanting them to turn turn face, to use your politically correct wrestling terms there, and going against the League of Nations. I don't know if this means that they're going to continue to face off against the League of Nations, or if they will switch somehow, or whatever's going to happen. It'll be interesting to see. Like we said, it's just a glorified house show, so I obviously didn't expect anything to happen. The New Day weren't going to drop their titles before we get to WrestleMania, so it'll be interesting to see when we're just 3 weeks ahead, or 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, to see where they go and how this eventual match gets set up. And I am going to have to agree with something. I'm at a loss of words right now because I dropped my notes. So Matt, if you know what this next match is, that would help me out a lot. And if you could segue us into that, and I will awkwardly pick up my notes and we will move on from there.
The next match was, I think it was the women's match, was it not?
No, the next match. Sorry. We will edit that out in post-production. You just wait. The next match was Chris Jericho. Well, next we got Chris Jericho coming out, and Chris Jericho is obviously a heel now. And so obviously one would think, how are they going to make Chris Jericho a heel in his native Canada land? Well, he did a pretty damn good job of it. And as someone who's not the biggest fan of Canada myself, I agreed with Mr. Jericho's words that he said about them being terrible and something about being an anus of something. So I really enjoyed that. It was great to see. It was great to see somebody put Canada in their place for once, instead of them being all high and mighty with their syrup and their mousse and their igloos. So good job, Mr. Jericho. What confused me, not necessarily the star quality of his opponent, but the fact that they brought a real American Jack Swagger out to defend the honor of Canada. It doesn't make any sense, obviously, when you have the all-American Jack Swagger. But I thought the match was decent. It wasn't going to be a barn burner by any means. Jack Swagger he's a decent worker, but he's not the best in the world, as Chris Jericho says that he is. But it was still a decent match. It was nice to see a few of these matches thrown in that weren't advertised on the main card, that were thrown in obviously to fill time. But they're still fun to watch. Matt, what did you think about heel Jericho going full heel on his native Canada?
It's a bold move, Cot. It's a bold move. I feel like you're right on the Jack Swagger part. It would have been a great moment for for the Peep Show to come out and defend his country.
Yeah.
In a fun little Christian versus Chris Jericho match, which we all would have loved. Great nostalgia there. It was weird to see Swagger come out, but a Swagger sighting to me, not many of you, I don't think many of you watchers watch football, but a Swagger sighting to me is like a Tebow sighting, Tim Tebow. So it's very special, but ultimately he's a mediocre performer, kind of a poor man's Kurt Angle, but it is fun to see him. And Jericho obviously put on good. He's been on a hot streak lately. I think AJ Styles is really bringing the old man back into the times. Puts on a good match with him. It just the match didn't really make sense out of all the people you could have brought out.
Yeah, I agree. Could have been anybody, but I guess, if we're trying to look at this glass half full, there are a lot worse people they could have thrown out there than Jack Swagger. So, moving on past that, we get to what was my favorite match of the night, and it should be your favorite as well. Unless you have a different opinion, in which that's completely okay. That's the wonders of watching wrestling. We get an NXT Tag Team Championship match against the Revival, whatever. I will not be referring to them as the Revival. They will forever be known as either the Mechanics or Dash and Dawson. Against the Certified G, bona fide stud, 7-foot tall giant, and the hottest chick in the ring, the team of Enzo and Big Cass with the lovely Carmella by their side as always, who was in fact looking hot as hell. Man, this was a really fun match. I'm really glad we got to see this. It's fun to see these NXT guys. I thought it was really interesting to see how the main roster announcers, who we obviously aren't the biggest fans of, announcing this match. And I was really surprised, Michael Cole knew a few of Big Cass's moves that I think rarely even get called on NXT. So good job, Maggle. You impressed me there. They actually called this match, and I thought they did a really good job. The match in itself was really, really entertaining and really good. I thought they had one of, if not the best match at NXT TakeOver London. And so this was just another fun showing. Sadly, my boys didn't pick up the win, but I think is very evident now that Enzo and Big Cass are through with NXT and they are headed up to the main roster. And if anyone had any doubt whatsoever on whether the crowd would chant along, whether the main roster crowd would chant along with Enzo and Big Cass, I think we were shown tonight that there's nothing to worry about. So, Matt, what did you think of this match? Was it a good match, or was it just plain soft?
It was fantastic. Colin Cassidy there. That boy moves better than any 7 I've ever seen. Better than Big Show back in the day. We got in the groove there. Yeah, I just wish on these big shows like TakeOver London and RoadBlock, Cass would have more time, would be more of an offensive factor, so to say. A lot of the time, it's just Enzo Amore in these big shows. Let's say it goes 20 minutes, Enzo Amore taking 16 minutes in the ring. So for them to be like more menacing, I guess, or entertaining when they face off against New Day, with B. Cassidy kind of coming in there and just demolishing people. Enzo more as a talking piece for a while. Yeah, I feel like you need him more as a offensive monster. But other than that, the match was fantastic. I freaked out because they almost won it. It was the slowest 2 count in the world, really. It's I think I knew what tweet you were just reading.
Yeah.
It was a good match. It was, however, not my favorite. It was probably my second favorite.
Yeah, that's understandable. I felt this show top to bottom featured all really good matches. I don't think there was technically a bad match on the card. But yeah, I agree. Colin Cassidy moves around like a man, half of his size. And it's just amazing to see how well Enzo and Big Cass have improved in their in-ring skills. They've always been able to talk around anybody in the company, but I think they're finally starting to show it more in the ring. Speaking of showing it in the ring, the next match was a doozy. Charlotte against Natalya for the WWE Divas Championship. And I said before the match, if we get half the match that we got at NXT TakeOver, we're in for a hell of a match. And that we did. And the crowd was into it the whole time. Charlotte is doing a fantastic job as a heel. As I've said many times before, get that creepy bastard away from her. She doesn't need Rick anymore. She's doing fine on her own. And I think Natalya did her home country of Canada proud. She made her Uncle Brett proud, who once again we're still wishing the best in his recovery against cancer, because as we all know, cancer sucks. But yeah, really, really, really good match. I enjoyed this top to bottom. I don't know if this means that we get to see more of Natalya in the future in the Divas division. I feel like we've said that before after she's had a great match, and then we didn't see her for another couple months. But we'll see. She always puts on a great match, no matter how often she's called upon or what she's doing. I remember when they saddled her with that ridiculous, I believe, that farting gimmick where she farted around people and that made people not like her. which is just ridiculous and humiliating. And the fact that she's stuck with the company and has been an ambassador for the company to this day is quite amazing. So good job, Natty. Good job, Charlotte. Go away, Rick. Shut up, Maggle. Shut up, JBL. And yeah, Matt, you got this. Go for it.
This was my favorite match on the card. It was really back and forth. A couple times they had me on the edge of my seat thinking, oh my god, it's gonna be a fatal 4-way for the title at Mania. And I would have been all for a surprise Natalya win here. She really deserves to be in that match with those girls, especially for green wrestlers on the main roster, such as these three women could have benefited greatly from a veteran being in the ring with them, but they don't really need it. It was good. I loved it. You were calling for natural selection. It happens. I'm sure you marked out a little bit on that one.
Oh, I marked the hell out on that one. That was awesome.
It was good. I liked the back and forth from the sharpshooter to the figure four, the sharpshooter to the figure four, the slapping. It was good. It was real good.
Yeah. What else do we expect? These are two of the best in the world at what they do, to once again steal from Chris Jericho. And then I don't really know where to start with this match. The advertised match that we were supposed to be getting next, and what they built up even before the match, was Brock Lesnar against Bray Wyatt. And we get Bray Wyatt doing this fun promo coming down the ramp. And then, well, we didn't really get Bray Wyatt against Brock Lesnar. It was a handicap match in which Brock Lesnar faced Luke Harper, and Bray Wyatt wasn't in the match at all. Which I'm kind of split on. Part of me thinks, okay, they're protecting Bray Wyatt here. Good job. They're putting Luke Harper in there with a main event player like Brock Lesnar. Good job. But they still advertise Bray Wyatt against Brock Lesnar going at each other and beating the heck out of each other. So I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get that, obviously. But I kind of just hope that they're saving it for something. Obviously, it's not happening at WrestleMania. Maybe it'll happen at Extreme Rules or Payback or whatever it is, the show that's right after WrestleMania. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it was interesting. Luke Harper, man, that guy is such a great worker. He took those German suplexes like a champ. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, it was a little too short it was too short for me. I'll say that. Matt, over to you. You can say words better than I can at this point, I think. Go for it.
It was really fantastic seeing Luke Harper do just about as good, if not better, than anybody else really in the ring with Brock Lesnar. He brought the offense. The first time in a while that I've actually seen Brock Lesnar being pushed inside the ring by his opponents. Luke Harper physically just put him in there. This was a good match for Luke Harper's career. I don't know what they're doing with the whole Bray Wyatt thing here. Like you said, possibly better for after WrestleMania. Something's going to happen. I'd love to see these guys at Extreme Rules. But it could have gone on better. There could have been more interference. Someone could have, let's say Braun Strowman could have gotten up on the ringside, and Bray Wyatt could have hit Lesnar with something where Bray was in the match more. I think that would have helped the storyline a little better.
Yeah, I agree with that. You don't really need to get Bray, in the match taking bumps from Lesnar. You could just have him. I thought if anything, when Harper took that F5, you could have Bray run in and just beat the heck out of Lesnar until Lesnar gets up, and then have Bray run out again. Some sort of physical interaction would have been great. As you said, I think, I could be wrong in this, but I think that Strowman and Rowan are on the other leg of WWE's tour. WWE also did a show in Atlantic City, I think, in good old Jersey, which I believe was headlined by the great Kevin Owens and AJ Styles in an Iron Man match. So if anyone knows what happened there, please let us know. I'm sure we would love to hear about that. And so we get this match over, and once again, as I mentioned earlier, those fun little matches that weren't advertised that pop up. The match just ended, so I was about to get up and go into the kitchen and get something to drink when I heard the greatest noise in the world, folks. You know what I'm talking about. Boom. Sami Zayn's music hit, and I popped up off the couch like a mushroom on a wet March day. I tell you what, I wasn't expecting Sami Zayn. I always get super excited when I hear Sami Zayn's music. I'm getting excited talking about it right now, and it was just really fun to see a big homecoming in his native Canada, and so that was really great, and the crowd was super into it. And then Stardust came out, and then I have no clue what the hell happened, whether the maple syrup ran dry for 45 minutes, or if the Montreal Canadiens or the Toronto hockey team traded their star player or something in this time. But for whatever reason, the crowd decided to go a little bit crazy during this match and a little bit during the next match. And we're chanting for JBL in the middle of a Sami frickin' Zayn match. And why? I don't understand. Like, if someone could possibly explain to me what the hell they were thinking or doing, chanting for JBL when Sami frickin' Zayn, the home Canadian Sami frickin' Zayn, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what they were doing. The match was really good. I don't know if Sami Zayn has ever wrestled Stardust before. I don't think he has, so it was fun to see a new match. It's kind of a rare thing these days to get a match we've never seen before. And so it was really fun. I enjoyed the match, but whatever issues was going on in the crowd, whether their maple syrup is gone or whether it was spiked or whatever happened, fix it next time, Canada, because you're on thin ice, pun intended. Matt, give us your thoughts.
Not much to say really here. It was a good match. I feel like Stardust did a fantastic job. It was surprising to see him come out there. What? It was surprising to see him come out there. He's underused, and this was a great chance for him to go up against Sami Zayn, a great up-and-comer. And I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't definitely not my favorite match on the card. Definitely not my least favorite on the card. But it was just one of those filler matches to me where I'm like, okay, well, I can watch this while I'm waiting for Dean Ambrose and Triple H, kind of like an appetizer.
Yes, and
this match was an appetizer.
Yeah, what a delicious appetizer it was. It was the mozzarella stick of appetizers, or whatever your preferred appetizer is. I don't know. I like mozzarella sticks. Let us know what you like in the comments. Tell us what your favorite appetizer is. Yeah, that was really random and stupid. Anywho, moving on to our main event. What everyone, including my co-host Matt, had been built up to believe, that Dean Ambrose had a shot at winning the WWE title. Triple H against Dean Ambrose. This was a really good, fun match. A lot of fun ring psychology, a lot of fun storytelling in this match that they did a really good job at. One little minor thing I liked about this match was, I think it started with, I don't know, there was still, technically like 50 or 55 minutes left in the show, and the runtime it was supposed to, was scheduled to run 3 hours. And so obviously we know that the match is not going to last that long, because they're obviously not Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe. So I thought it was interesting to think that the match could realistically end at any time. A lot of times with a main event on a pay-per-view or a Raw or something, basically when it's going to end, because when it gets close to that time, when it gets to that 11 o'clock Eastern or 10 o'clock Central time, the match is going to end soon. And so I thought it was kind of fun, really not knowing when the match was going to end. But they did some really fun stuff. Ambrose pulling out the ring psychology, working on Triple H's legs, going for the figure four, going for the sharpshooter. Just a lot of fun stuff. I, however, was not one who was to be tricked by WWE's dark evil magic in thinking that Dean Ambrose might win, or even that lovely little false finish with the 3 count there. I don't know why. I feel like I probably should have been like, oh my gosh, he just won, but I just kind of sat there and thought, oh, what are they going to do to screw him out of this time? And so that was quickly answered, but I thought Dean Ambrose looked really strong, and I think that was the important thing here, to look strong for Brock Lesnar. You can't really hang your head losing a match to Triple H if we're just talking in straight kayfabe sense. Obviously, this has been booked really, really well these past 2 weeks, and it's done a lot better than what Triple H and Roman Reigns had done. And yes, I love Dean Ambrose too. I'd love to see him be champion, and I think he will be champion someday if we simply wait. It will happen. But once again, this is just a house show, so I didn't actually expect anything major to happen. I know a lot of people wanted it to happen because it was on the WWE Network, but I am satisfied in watching a really good match. I think sometimes that's sometimes better than getting a specific desired result. But I know a lot of people feel differently. Matt, I feel like you might be one of those people who feel a bit differently and maybe a bit jaded that Mr. Ambrose didn't walk out of Canada with the WWE title. So give your thoughts to the folks. I'm sure you'll be a little bit more popular in this segment than I.
What can I say about this match? It was fantastic. I looked at my clock and I was like, okay, well they have 3 minutes for this match to end before 9. I thought it was supposed to end at 9. I was unaware that it was supposed to go till 10. But even thinking it's supposed to end at 9, I got the same reaction of it could literally end any time. There's no specific time, Yeah, I thought there was going to be a interference by someone, by Shane McMahon or by Roman Reigns. There wasn't. They gave him the time. Dean Ambrose fighting old school, picking the knee, targeting the knee, working on it for a long time. We haven't really seen techniques like that for a while. Triple H, I feel like Dean Ambrose is such a good wrestler that he doesn't need Triple H to help him. So he just went full-blown character on this one, really getting into the match. Some vintage Triple H stuff here. We saw the high knee, we saw everything, and he's still pretty agile, which, I give him credit. I'm probably to be dead by the time I'm 35, so can't do that stuff. So then the false finish. I froze for a second when I heard the 3 hits. My world kind of froze, and I was like, okay, this has happened. Try not to freak out. And then obviously it went, didn't get it. That, to me, is a huge sign that we will get Dean Ambrose as a champion one day, because he has a literal 3 count over the champion to win the championship. It was just a technicality this time. So we've seen it happen. We've seen Dean steal the WWE championship. We've seen all these things. So obviously we're going to get him as champion one day. If I was a betting man, I would say sometime in 2016. And this match was just fantastic, and I don't think Reigns or Triple H will have this kind of match. I think it'll be lackluster. I think it'll be mid-card. I think it'll be behind Undertaker match, to be honest with you. To be defeated by 240 on the other side of 40 men, it's kind of saying something.
Yeah, Triple H looked pretty darn good for being 46 years old. I don't look that way ever, and I'm, half that age. So props to him, props to Dean Ambrose. Both guys went out there and put on a heck of a match. I feel almost like they were trying to, give Triple H a clean win over everybody's favorite guy, Dean Ambrose, in hopes that people will boo him when he faces Roman Reigns now. I'm not sure if that's going to happen because he's still Triple H. He's still the champion of NXT. And, he's still the king of kings. He's still one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time. So it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait for Raw this coming Monday. I believe we've got, like I said earlier, 3 weeks until WrestleMania. And so that should be a lot of fun. So I think that's all we've got for this show. It's not an overly extensive show, but I feel like we've still taken plenty of time to discuss and to talk about this glorified house show. Probably more than it needs to be, but hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to ramble on incoherently until you're sick and tired of hearing our voices. And so with that said, we do have a few announcements. The first one being that our next show, which may or may not be our only show before WrestleMania, will be discussing who we think should go in the WWE Hall of Fame. We did this show last year, and it was a lot of fun to do. I think it was one of our better shows. I think that was our third or fourth show, if I remember right. And so we've got a list. We're going to discuss them right after we end this show, and we're going to hash those out, and it's going to be great. There is, however, another super awesome show that you should be looking forward to that may or may not have been teased for a while. So, Matt, why don't you let everyone know when that may be coming up and what that entails?
Well, it's been teased, and the people have demanded it. So we will, within the next week to 2 weeks, be filming a show talking about who the face of the company will be. Should it be Seth Rollins? Should it be Dean Ambrose? Or should it be Roman Reigns? It's going to get heated, it's going to get ugly, and we will decide. And then, for the second part of that show, with the energy we have left, we will be discussing the greatest ladder matches you may have forgotten about. So we're not going to be talking about the TLC matches. We're not going to be talking about the Money in the Bank matches. We're going to be talking about random ladder matches, possibly from New Japan, possibly from WWE. But it's going to be awesome.
That it is. So, with that said, this has been WWE Locker Talk episode 43. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at WWE Locker Talk. I am Colton. This is my co-host Matt, and this has been the grand 43rd episode of Locker Talk, and we will see you next time.